For your patience. Live events are something we're all getting used to again, but here we are, and it's good to be here with all of you today. Welcome, friends, family, faculty, and colleagues, and of course, graduates of this class of 2022. My name is John Sebastian. I'm Vice President for Mission and Ministry here at LMU, as well as faculty in the English department, and I serve as the presiding academic officer for the LMU Center for Religion and Spirituality, and as such, it is my very good pleasure also to serve as the MC for today's celebration. Whether you have studied with us online or on campus, it is appropriate that we have gathered as a whole community today at Loyola Marymount University, whose namesake, St. Ignatius of Loyola, nearly 500 years ago, authored his spiritual exercises with a mandate of meeting people where they are. This was a radical idea at the time, opening opportunities for spiritual formation and discernment to those unable to participate in more traditional ways. Some nearly half a millennium later at this point, and 6,000 miles away, this same radical idea would be proposed by another great teacher than 380 years ago, Sri T. Krishnamacharya, and his approach to each. There's such a glare here, I'm sorry. It's very hard to see the notes. And his approach to each student as a unique individual, according to his or her individual capacity at any given time, opened the experience of yoga to new communities, both inside and outside India, and eventually here in the United States. These shared values of openness, creativity, and passing on traditions and practices for those who seek them, have found expression here at LMU. They ground our curricula. They are emulated by our faculty. They are instilled in our students. To those receiving certificates of completion today, you should be immensely proud of your achievement and of this community of learning to which you belong. I am pleased to welcome to today's proceedings my colleague, Christopher T. Chapple, Doshi Professor of Indic and Comparative Theology and Director of Graduate Yoga Studies at the LMU Bellarmine College of Liberal Arts, who will offer a reflection for us this afternoon. A well-respected and heavily published specialist in the religions of India, Professor Chapple has had a long and storied career as a scholar, teacher, and practitioner of yoga. It was Professor Chapple who 20 years ago this month first began the study of yoga in the Center for Religion and Spirituality, and has since built a legacy of yoga studies at this university. We are grateful for his foresight and his commitment to this tradition, both here and beyond the bluff. I invite you to join me in welcoming Professor Christopher.
Thank you, John, for those lovely words and a reminder that we're part of something so much larger than our numbers today may seem to indicate. And those numbers are about years, both here at LMU and years of the Jesuit tradition of education. And it's also about years in terms of yoga. And I remember when we began these programs some years ago, my wife said to me, "How can you do that there?" And meaning, was there not a paper warning people issued by Monsignor Ratzinger, who later became, actually became Pope? And I had studied that document carefully, and I actually found a great deal of wisdom in it, and saw in my heart that the work that we're doing here is to develop tools of discernment. And in Sanskrit, the key to our freedom is a term, viveka khyati. We've all heard of Swami Vivekananda, who famously came to the Parliament of World Religions in 1893, and actually wrote the book Raja Yoga while he was living here in Pasadena. And his name means that as we develop discernment, we're able to recover a sense of bliss, of ananda. And as yoga came with its various waves in the 1890s, the 1920s, the 1960s, the 1990s. What I discovered, having thrown myself headlong into the study and practice of yoga as a teenager, what I discovered is that ongoing discernment is essential. And in all manner of guises, folks have come along who have not been representing the true intent of yoga, using yoga instead as a way to manipulate and control people. And because of my own experiences with my teacher, who was a remarkable woman, born and raised in India, in Calcutta, who herself started the study of yoga at age 8, who had performed Bharatanatyam at Lincoln Center in New York City, and who had really committed herself to sharing with the people specifically of Long Island at that time, what she had learned, and held forth these ethical principles that are really the keystone and the ground for what we do here. And these are universal principles that we find in varying forms in all ethical codes. Begins with do no harm, Ahimsa. The great precept that inspired Mahatma Gandhi to throw off the shackles of colonialism, forever changing the world. The principle that invites us to think carefully about the foods we eat, the words we use, the occupations that we take. And the principle of satya, satyagraha, the slogan for Mahatma Gandhi, hold to truth, create truth. And the slogan that we have here at the university is create the world you want to live in. And this truth is what really allows us to do the work that we do within the world. And with the support of yoga, we're able to gain reflective discernment about how to move forward in small steps and how to move forward with, as you will, a mission theme to the work we undertake. Asteya, don't take what doesn't belong to you. And we try to be honest philosophically. We try to remind ourselves and people of yoga that how much is enough. Brahmacharya, the vow to hold to your vow. And again, that vow must be grounded in nonviolence. And it means thinking carefully about your comportment, bringing dignity to every encounter. And then the fifth great precept, aparigraha, says, we don't need as much as we think we need. And with the current ecological crisis, that vow, particularly for consumerist, capitalist, American-driven globalization, we need to think twice about the goods that we consume. Think twice about how many clothes do we really need, and then see what we can manage in doing with less. And this project of minimization is shifting technology, shifting discourse, shifting people's food habits, all for the better. Now, back when I was a teenager, we were given one of those to practice every week. And every morning, I refreshed myself with some reflection on those 5 precepts. And above all else, regardless of which path of yoga you're bringing to others. And this is the beauty of education, is that, yes, we all become edified as we study, but whether we're formal teachers or informal teachers, our way of life gets communicated by our demeanor, by our interests, by our choices made in the company of others. And what we need to remember is that grounding in the spiritual. And I wanted to invoke a very important Jesuit called Karl Rahner. And in the early 1960s, there was a Vatican Council convened, a council that suggested that the church have a conversation about its relationship with the world. And one of the pieces of wisdom that came out from that particular Jesuit was that if religion moving forward is to have any relevance, it must be grounded in spiritual experience. And what people have come to discover is that in order to connect with a sense of spirit, that there are, in addition to the available institutional forms of liturgies and so forth, that there are technologies from multiple traditions, multiple cultures, that can enhance that sense of spirit, can enhance that sense of connection with a higher purpose, whatever word that you may choose to articulate that for yourself. And what we've been able to do here through the good grace of so many, I love that long list of faculty that you find in your program, but through the good grace of people such as, particularly Larry Payne, who is with us today, we're able to share a little bit of discernment, share a little bit of wisdom, share a little bit of a path that has existed for a very, very long time that says, I sort of love this phrase, don't just do something, please sit there and breathe. So from that point of stillness, we move forward into the world. And today's a day of multiple celebration that will bring to us an acknowledgement of people remote, people present, and their families who have walked the walk for these many, many, many hours, and who now are qualified to talk the talk of the good work of yoga. So, shall we proceed with the announcement of the graduates? And sadly, Dr. Hurteau is not able to be with us. He was here, but he wasn't feeling well and said, I think I will go. So what we're going to do is award the certificates of completion, recognizing your dedication and acknowledging your success. So we will announce each graduate by program. When your program is called, please line up closest, just come to the aisle. And when you hear your name, please receive your certificate from Dr. Sebastian and return to your seat. So we will begin with the graduates of the Prime of Life Yoga program. And the Prime of Life Yoga program prepares students to serve the growing midlife and older population. Students learn an overall lifestyle approach for midlife and beyond, an asana, a movement practice that is accommodating, And it covers everyday biomechanics, getting down onto a chair, getting up from a chair. It also includes stress management and sleeping techniques. And if you're online, accept the congratulations from the group of us here. And if you're in the room, we look forward to you coming forward. So Deborah Albinson, Christine Bogdan, Rena Lahav, Whitney Larson, Lydia Leos, and Penny Stone. So we thank you. Please look to the camera. And so we now invite the graduates of Yoga, Mindfulness, and Social Change to come forward. And this is a program near and dear to my heart. Ah, very good. Shiva is here. And near and dear to my heart. What happened some time ago is that the environmental crisis just came to be so front and center in public awareness. And we partnered with an association called the Green Yoga Association based in Oakland to develop a series of courses and a series of retreats. We had up to 300 people at these retreats up in the Santa Cruz Mountains to rethink and re-educate ourselves in terms of how yoga can be part of the solution. And as other social issues pressed upon us, we expanded the program to include issues of race, gender, identity, diversity, equity, inclusion, and so forth. And as demonstrated by a number of civil and social activists in history, I already lifted up the name of Mahatma Gandhi, yoga and meditation are socially transformative practices. Students engage in the certificate program in a comprehensive reflection about the social role of yoga and meditation, and work to become leaders in the growing community of service-oriented yoga and meditation activism. So I'm going to read this list of names, and those of you in the video world, please receive your appreciation, and Shua will step forward. So Barry Bratton, Rui Han, Megan Morris, Courtney Ng, Nika Pamenter, Gayatri Segal, and Shua Wang. Oh. Congratulations. So one of the many adventures of getting this operation started up in the 1990s was meeting and collaborating with a whole array of different individuals, including Tara Goober. And Tara Goober founded Yoga Ed many years ago and helped co-establish a school in the heart on Main Street, east of USC, in the heart of the southern part of central Los Angeles. And she and her friends funded a K-12 school wherein every student gets yoga twice a week. And she developed a curriculum to support this and then took the curriculum to the world. And she would invite school teachers up to her gated estate in Bel Air. And it was quite a treasure. I mean, literally a treasure to walk into their trophy room, because the family has the Stanley Cup, has the MBA ring, has the Oscars and the Emmys I mean, all these awards. I didn't even know so many could even exist, but the family has been awarded all of them. Gayatri, we just announced your name. Come on in. And we're happy to present you your certificate. Gayatri completed yeah, and we're going to get your photo also. Yoga, mindfulness, and social change. Great. So this yoga ed program trains educators to utilize yoga in the traditional classroom. As more and more students struggle with attention, stress, anxiety, mental health, and behavioral challenges, yoga and meditation practices have been proven to be a worthwhile tool for both students and for the teachers as well. And we're pleased to offer Trina Heinich the certificate this year. So congratulations, Trina. Now we have the oldest and original certificate, which I established, as was just indicated, in January 2002. It started. And the story was that I've been gathering people at my house for 5 years, every third Wednesday night, from all walks of life and all paths of yoga. And we were studying and chanting in Sanskrit the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. And it was usually about 10 to 15 people every third Wednesday. Some celebrities came, including Laura Dern. And it was so energizing for us all. And I came to our administration and I said, we've got some talent here and we could really, probably start a graduate program. And I first asked that question about 1995. No, it must have been 96. Is the program that started. And they said no. Then I went back a couple of years later to another dean, and the dean said no. And then I went back a couple of years later, and it was Kenyon Chan who said, well, I don't think they need a degree, but my neighbor who goes to yoga, Santa Monica Yoga, and teaches there, she thinks that maybe it would be good to do something. So why don't you start some certificates with LMU Extension? So this was the beginning years of the name change to the Center for Religion and Spirituality. So I said, okay, we'll do it. And yoga philosophy is the first certificate, requires 20 hours of Sanskrit, 20 hours of the Yoga Sutra, 10 hours of the Bhagavad Gita, 10 hours of the Upanishads, 10 hours of the Sankhakarika, and 50 hours of electives. So it's 120 hours. It's like a mini minor if you were at a university. And it includes the possibility to study all these various schools of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. And we've had many, many people participate in these courses, and not nearly as many actually see the certificate all the way through to the end. But I'm very happy to announce 4 people. And if any of you are here, I will definitely come off the lectern and give you acknowledgement. But Susan Grizzle, Lisa Jordan, Ruth Wicks, and Mark Walker. Hey. Just for you, Ruth. So congratulations. So good to see you here.
Congratulations.
Okay, we should do a photo. So, great. Now, when Larry and I met up, he was teaching at UCLA Medical School, and this was in the 90s. And he had originally become known to me through a now slightly infamous person.
Your wife.
Well, my wife, but she was given advice by John Friend, the founder of Anusara, to seek out Larry. And this was long before John Friend established Anusara. We had been co-teaching at a retreat in the Catskills together. And when one thing led to another, Larry invited me to come to the class that he was teaching for UCLA Medical School. And I said, so what are they doing for you over there? And he said, oh, it's a little bit limited. So I said, well, we're starting certificates at LMU, come on board. And he worked diligently to put together this remarkable 4-year sequence, brought in top practitioners in the field of yoga therapy. And they focus on everything, on the musculoskeletal system, the principles and practices of the performance of yoga, anatomy, how to assess common ailments, how to determine what regimen will be helpful in each and every situation. And what we're going to do now is honor.
May I interject that?
Yes, please.
You asked me to do a 1-year pilot study, which you did at my studio for 1 year to make sure it all worked out.
How's that been going?
It
worked out okay. It worked out.
It worked out.
Literally hundreds and hundreds of people have graduated from this program.
1,000.
Oh, okay, over 1,000. Amazing. So we're going to announce, this is, I believe, yoga therapy level 1. It's a long list of names, and if you're here, please come forward. And if you're on screen with us, please feel proud of your accomplishment. So Sandra Barnes, Teresa Bartko, Kimberly Barada-Garay, Kolura Caulfield, Annalisa Christensen, Angelic Dean, Sam Gould, Stephanie Greco, Sylvie Grote, Kimberly Hamilton, Laura Hidrobo, Adrian Height, Yuko Johnson, Mitchell Kaufman, Karen Perez, Emily Phillips, Teresa Portuguese, Ruth Ricks again, Linda Robinson. We were in India just this summer. Melvin Stakely, Stephen Stone, Arlene Trevitan, R.A. Vincent, and Karen Waddell. So congratulations. And now the advanced yoga therapy RX. Following the curriculum of the basic program, students in the advanced yoga therapy RX program study challenges or ailments related to internal physiology, including mental health. Students address the origin and treatment of the internal systems of the body, as well as the relationship between yoga therapy and Ayurveda, the ancient Indian holistic approach to healing. And again, so many of these names are so familiar to me, and I spent time in India with many of these people this past summer. Okay, Jacqueline Albright, or Abrault, I should say. Kolura Caulfield, Lisa Fairmouth Weber, Sylvie Grote, Mitchell Kaufman, Laura Liu, Donna Rocklin, Caitlin Robbins, Linda Robinson, Heather Romanowski, Aaron Russler, Karen Waddell, and Marissa Zink. So congratulations. Now, clinical yoga therapy RX provides a practicum preparation so that our students can move into a clinical setting. It's taught seminar style with live and acting patients. The shadow clinic, in which students observe yoga therapy delivery by certified yoga therapists and integrative health professionals, prepares students to serve clients in clinical settings with medical professionals, as well as preparation for professional licensure as yoga therapists. So again, a wonderful list of names. If you're here, please come forward. Annalisa Christensen, Angelic Dean, Maya Donovan, Heather Frenner, Sam Gould, Stephanie Greco, Adrian Height, Daniel Johnson, Mitchell Kaufman, Carol Lambden, Cindy Medoff, Savannah Rivera, Stephanie Singleton, Arlene Trevitan, Alice Bierkamp, and Marissa Zink. So I'd like to invite Felicia to come up, please. Okay. Okay, come on up, Felicia. You have some words. And you get to read these names. So here's your words.
So I just want to say I don't really feel worthy to be standing in this company, but I am honored. But I am honored, and I just want to acknowledge as the storytelling, as you know, Dr. Chapple has been telling the story of the growth of this over years, as Dr. Payne has been telling the story of the growth of this over years. We have the great grace to be standing in this presence and doing this work and continuing this work. And I have known Larry for 30 years, and I remember when we first met 30 years ago, and I have so much admiration for this field of yoga therapy that you have helped build. And in this next piece, you know, each year a number of our graduates, after many hours of study and practicum, achieve eligibility for professional certification with the International Association for Yoga Therapists, which is an international organization that you helped found. So we are all standing here today because of all this work that has come to this moment. So I'm just honored to have people who are my teachers and my mentors to be sharing this moment with, and all of the people who have been mentors to these students and continue to be mentors to these students and continue to show up and really nudge them and push them and challenge them. And there's just, you know, not enough words, but they have done amazing, amazing, amazing work. So I know people in this room have been doing amazing work, and people who are online have been doing amazing work. Karen Apostolina, Samantha Blaustein, Bianca Cueva, Ashley Fox, Ginger Fox, Jennifer Guttner, Natalie Ray Hahn, Kristen Lauterbach, Marcella Lynn, Sean Choi Mahajan, Kimberly Miller, Mika Nishimura, Diana Orderica, Paula Russell, Gerlene Sarai, Joyce Schumann, Lorena Tapiero, April Tucker, Tara Walker Monroe. And I know that the work that each and every one of you do and continue to do, and the study and the great accomplishment this is tremendous. So congrats.
Thank you so
I appreciate Professor Chapple's reminder to breathe before we act earlier, and in starting late and struggling with our tech, I forgot to breathe earlier and offered a rather breathless welcome. So now I'm going to breathe and offer a slower, more deliberate, more fulsome set of thanks on behalf of Dr. Hurteau, who, as we mentioned earlier, cannot be here today, but I'm glad to be able to take his place in this moment to offer these thanks to the many people who make a day like today possible, and to make the programs that lead to a day like today possible, as we've been hearing. And for me in particular, I've really enjoyed, as Felicia just mentioned, the storytelling that has accompanied this ceremony, and really sensing the history that everyone here is part of over this long stretch of time now that these programs have been here at LMU. So to begin with, let me thank Chris Chapple for your words, for your reflection, for your wisdom, for your inspiration, for all of your 20-year commitment to yoga studies in the Center for Religion and Spirituality. If I were Bob, I would at this point in time be thanking me, but that's weird, so we're going to skip to the next one. I want also to thank our Center for Religion and Spirituality staff, including, of course, Michael McNaught and Rosa Calderon, who's in the back of the room. Thank you for coordinating, Michael, the live stream, and also Rosa for the reception that we're about to enjoy in just a few minutes, as soon as I stop talking, but we're not quite there yet. And thank you both for your assistance with all many details necessary to make something like today possible. I'd like to thank our faculty, whose work with and devotion to our students has made it possible for us to celebrate these graduates today. Thank you to our faculty. And I also echo my thanks to all the family members, friends, ministry colleagues of this year's graduates. Your support for them has made the achievements we recognize today possible. So thank you all who have supported all of these wonderful graduates on their journey. And a special word of thanks here. I want to join Chris Chapple in acknowledging Dr. Larry Payne. We are in the planning stages of an event to honor Larry in 2023, but it goes without saying that his leadership for all these many years has caused the yoga therapy and Prime of Life yoga programs truly to blossom and to grow here at LMU. He has pushed for that growth that is deep, aligning our programs at every step with the most up-to-date guidance from the IAYT, and that is wide. He has been responsible for the training of hundreds of graduates in yoga therapy programs. And though he has passed the baton to a capable group of professors in the 3 yoga therapy certificate programs here, we are fortunate to count on him as a subject matter expert in those programs going forward, and also to have his involvement in other aspects of the center's yoga studies program. Larry, we thank you for all of your hard work over these 17 years. We wish you well in your retirement from full responsibility for the programs, but we're not letting you off the hook just yet. And we look forward to continuing to collaborate with you. Thank you for all that you have given to these programs and to Ellen. Finally, to our graduates today, I want to encourage you to continue to think of LMU and the Center for Religion and Spirituality as a home. Growing in your practice or in your teaching as a practitioner will always be a challenge, and there will be obstacles. So don't hesitate to come back to LMU for the courses, for workshops, for study programs, for conversation, simply to be with us in community as you continue to grow in your work. Don't be a stranger to this place. You are always welcome here. It is your home. Finally, thank you to all for participating in this ceremony. A special thanks to our friends in Zoom land. We're very glad to have you with us today, and we hope to see you on campus again at some point in time soon. This concludes our ceremony, and I invite you please to join us right outside in the hallway here for a reception where we can continue to celebrate the many achievements that we have marked this day. Thank you very much.